Yo, what is up guys, and welcome. It's InfernoKun here with my little review or just my general thoughts on The Walking Dead: A New Frontier, The Walking Dead Season 3, where I go ahead and incorporate your comments you left on this video right here. Thank you all who have commented on here. It's actually a bunch of responses and a bunch of things regarding The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. So let's go ahead and get into it. I do have my own list of, just general things like choices, what I think about those, the length of the episodes, the story, and even the characters. But I want to go ahead and see what you guys say first in these comments. Then I'll go ahead and give into my opinions. But let's go ahead and read the first one here. Hopefully, okay, never mind. It's pretty long. Okay, so, you say it's like one of the worst video games I've ever played in my life. Okay, then we'll go with that. Then you say the lies. This isn't directly on New Frontier, but the people advertising it, they said it will be their biggest season yet. Wrong. Okay, that's pretty true. In terms of like length, it isn't, and in terms of the content that was supposed to happen, like of course the 75,000 different Clementine starting points or something like that. That bullshit. But anyways, reading through what you are saying here is pretty much, to like sum it up, to put it in a too long didn't read mode, he kind of just talks about, just lies in general, how things were said that didn't actually really happen, like Clementine being a co-playable character when she actually wasn't. I mean, that was kind of like said, but it was kind of a bit vague, so it could have been misinterpreted as all. And then, of course, things like too many writers. Okay, so if you guys don't know, the lead writer for episodes 1 and 2, he left Telltale in January. So they assigned a new lead writer for episodes 3, 4, and 5. And you can kind of see the Walking Dead wiki. I don't want to go to it right now. I should probably go to it right now. Okay, as I was saying, you can kind of see here in the writers thing right here. Bob Kane, he's the lead writer for A New Frontier. Then we keep on going on. You see Nick Brecken, my favorite writer, by the way. He's pretty good. He's probably the best one. And then you go to Above the Law. It kind of just, what happened here? Who are these people? And then episode 4, it keeps them. Oh wait, new people. Wow. And then episode 5 is back to just like 2 people. So they switch writers a lot, which I mean I'm not really sure. I don't write video games, so I don't really know the process of doing that. From my understanding, I would be like, okay, so if you have different writers for different episodes, what happens to the lead writer's ideas for the season, but that becoming just the episode for the new lead writers? I don't know. But anyways, you say obvious rewrites. Okay, so here's something I have to say about that. There was an AMA that this person, Alyssa from Telltale, actually covered, not covered, but told about some rewrites, a bunch of rewrites. Oh my god, there were so many rewrites and cut content and stuff like that. You can see here, which one was it? We cut content for a lot of reasons, stuff like that. And then, romance. Lack of hubs is a big thing that I want to touch on later, but let's keep on going. And that's pretty much it. I'll read all this later, but it's too much to cover in this video. To keep it short, not a good game. 9 likes. Okay, yeah, I went from Darth Marwick coming. Okay, say you don't play as Clem. Okay, that's pretty, pretty much that. Let's bring to the next point. Kenny and Jane death, man. Woo boy, that was a big problem for most people who didn't really like that at all. Choices don't matter at all. Now, choices, I'm gonna get to that later. For my opinion, he says the character who can survive is fucking Comrade, and no one cares about him. Ava/Triff death in episode 5 is such bullshit. Yeah, I know, right? Omid, like all the way, man. At one point when like Ava falls down, Javier is like, she went out a real hero.
You've got to be more careful.
I was being.
Oh fuck! Ah!
Holy shit! Oh my god! Ava! Ava sacrificed herself to save me. She was a fighter. Didn't take shit from anybody. You were lucky to have her.
Like falling down off of a bridge into your death is a heroic way to die, in my opinion. Anyways, then stuff like that. Choices don't matter. The writing is horrible. He says, the character's motivation don't make any sense at all. First case wants to leave, but next episode she suddenly wants to help the people for no reason. So that's definitely, something else to take in account for. No way to offend against the answer, or defend your action against. Yeah, pretty much. Even though you have witness there, is kind of cut off by her not giving a shit, pretty much. And there we go. So, anyway, such a disappointment. They didn't have much character development we saw in season 1 and 2. That's a big problem. Okay, so somehow they managed to have even worse character development than in season 2. And season 2 didn't even have that much, but it had enough to be out A New Frontier. Now, let's go ahead and cut into my opinion real quick. Okay, so characters like, Conrad, who, he could actually have a big impact, kind of, not really. He can have like a little small impacts, but we have Trip over here. Trip was just generic as I don't know what. He didn't really express himself how he should have. He didn't really explain himself, or he didn't even, I didn't know a thing about Trip. Like, I really didn't. I didn't know what kind of person he was, because he was always angry at me for something. The character development wasn't just there to explain more about that, even for Eleanor. The character development really just focused on, of course, Javier, his family, Gabe, Mariana a little bit, and mostly Kate and David. That's what they focused on developing. When they said the whole season is about family, it was. I promise you it was. So, developing Eleanor, Trip, and Conrad was off the list. Clementine, now, for the most part, Clementine, man, she had more development than any other character in this season. And that's not really, that's not really a bad thing. I love Clementine. I loved her flashbacks. They were actually, I was more interested in Clementine's flashbacks than the actual story itself. For the most part, I mean, the story was pretty good. It wasn't phenomenal. It was a generic, gotta save this place from this bad person. And then, I love your wife, but you were gone. The whole Rick, Grimes, and Shane over Lori situation, pretty much. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna go off this real quick. But anyways, guy says season 3 was grazed to season 1. Absolute shit. I mean, okay. You didn't give me any reasons, but that's your opinion. Did Kenny and Jane have to die in season 3? Why? I don't think they actually explained that in the AMA. But for one thing, back to what the guy said about Ava and Trip dying. The person over at Telltale said they didn't want to give Trip or Ava plot armor. I'm not sure which one it was. It's probably this one. Blah blah blah. Okay, here it says the original goal of that set of events was to create a Walker situation. That one, but not the other of Trip and Ava could have made it through. Via player feedback, we knew we needed some kind of action on the overpass to keep the urgency up. Previous versions of that scene felt too safe to detach from the actual action going on in Richmond. Okay, and then they said, and we didn't want Trip and Ava's recent brush with death to give them plot armor. That's why they killed Trip or Ava. They didn't want to give them plot armor after just dying, which, they couldn't use the same excuse for Sarah in season 2, her almost dying and then killing her later. No plot armor. That's pretty good. Okay, anyways, let's keep on going with your little things. I enjoyed the game, but I didn't like that the episodes for this season were short compared to episodes or season 1 and 2. Yeah, it definitely was. Also, I really Javier's character, I guess, there were times where he was badass and he was also funny. I like Clementine too, but I wish that she wasn't just playable only in flashbacks. That's definitely what I think right now, because Javier, definitely an awesome character. If you were to return in season 4 with Clementine being playable, I wouldn't mind that. Javier is pretty awesome, and he definitely had his moments of being a badass. Just it reminded me of playing as Lee a little bit, just different. Okay, so this game's choices actually matter, at least much more than season 2 and season 1. Yeah, definitely. I would say that this choices actually, it didn't really matter, but it definitely came up with some awesome as differences. I mean, I can't think of the word, but for my thought about that, the choices weren't really hard, but they definitely had some nice changes. Like, for example, Conrad, him being the best determined character Telltale has put out so far, because he can actually get killed in episode 2 if you go ahead and shoot him. But if you don't end up killing him, he actually comes along, in episode 3. He can die in episode 3 as well if you don't give him your gun. And then in episode 4, if you give him your gun in episode 3 and he lives on to episode 4, he could actually die in episode 4 as well if you miss a QTE. And that's definitely really awesome. He can actually live until the final episode and come back and say something. That was actually pretty good. I think Telltale should go ahead and just do more things like that. But they should actually develop a character. Just don't have him be like Conrad. Because Conrad wasn't really too interesting of a character. But it's cool that he can actually survive the whole season or die in episodes, 2, 3, or 4. That's pretty cool. So, anyways, let's go ahead and say disappointing is an understatement to describe this train wreck of a season. I don't know why Telltale couldn't just stick with the original story based on what was shown and told. It seemed very compelling and interesting despite the conclusion of Javi's story, which, it might not be a conclusion to his story because in the AMA, Alyssa said that the Garcia could actually return, or something like that. You can go find it on your own. I'm too lazy. Anyways, stuff like that. And you were saying it feels like the only purpose was to act as a filler for a more appropriate follow-up, one that will focus exclusively on Clementine finding AJ, supposed to be her whole story arc for A New Frontier. That's definitely it, man. Like, the flashbacks were actually really, really interesting, and I was more interested in, like, what's going on with Clementine, how is she feeling, what has she been through, and those were definitely probably the best parts of A New Frontier, and just getting me more hype for a rendition of Clementine, continuing her story, is what A New Frontier did for me, at least. Go ahead and say way better than season 2 in my opinion. I really liked it. I hated a lot of the characters, but I liked a lot of them at the same time. My favorites were Javi or David, Jesus, and Joan. For the most part, you like Javi and David, okay? Jesus, who is a comic character, so you gotta like him, by the way. And Joan, and surprised you actually like Joan. Go and say it. Joan, cruel, heartless, manipulative, just like you want from a villain. Yeah, I mean, in terms of a villain, she was actually pretty good. Definitely really, really cruel and stuff like that. Gotta say, Joan was actually a pretty good villain, in my opinion. She had motives. She had, she just cold-hearted. Her motive was to keep her community alive, just by any means, and that's definitely a pretty good, villain in my opinion, and stuff like that. Coming from Goofy, oh God plays. At this point, I'm disappointed. Where are the puzzles, even if they were easy? That's another thing that I really, really want back from Telltale, man. The puzzles and stuff. They just got rid of them, basically. I remember back in, The Walking Dead Season 1, the whole train puzzle. It was hard, but it was definitely very interesting and extended the, gameplay and stuff like that. Was a great hub section with a great puzzle, and puzzles should actually just be brought back because this is a point-and-click adventure. I want to point and click at puzzles and adventure, okay? That's what I want to do. Puzzles can actually be a good thing or a bad thing. So, depending on what you want, it can increase, episode time. Which, I'm not really saying, like, make the hardest puzzle ever to increase your episode time. No. Do something fun and interesting that could actually incorporate into gameplay. That would be great. And then it's gone from being interactive to, oh wait, we forgot the player needs to do something. That's pretty much it. The hub sections are basically few in between, and it never happens most of the time, which is really, bad. There should actually be more hub sections. Like in Eleanor's apartment, for example, you can just stop for a second and talk to Eleanor, learn more about her, talk to Trip, learn more about him, talk to Gabe. It's so much things that could actually help out with, hub sections. That is crazy. So for the most part, Minecraft Story Mode Season 2, okay. Anyways, another comment, I totally hated it, to be honest. It's no connection between Season 2 and 3. Yeah, pretty much. It's like a whole new, thing. Just throwing in a whole new story and throwing it in Clementine. Just having her have her own story. It's like whenever you watch an anime and it's a filler episode, but the filler episode has some kind of canon material, so you have to watch it. and the canon material was Clementine's story, but everything else was, Javier filler. That's what that was. Anyways, let's go ahead and go on. Okay, so most of them have been actually negative for the most part. Everyone's going off how season ends. To be safe, you're not completely wrong. In my opinion, season 2 was the best, and New Frontier is just good as is. Okay, or just a bit worse than season 1. What? Okay. Anyways, I told us from the start that it would be Hobby's story. Yeah, they did. The best action scenes of any Walking Dead game. I wouldn't say. I mean, for the most part, it has some pretty flashy ones, but I would say personally that from my knowledge, I would say probably season 2 had more action, or had the best action scenes in my opinion. Maybe for the most part. I mean, I'm thinking about it. Like, the one thing that comes to mind in season 2 is in that giant walker herd. That was actually pretty cool. So I would think that season 2 had the best, in my opinion. Actually, the main cast is pretty strong. Wait, what? Wait, really? Okay, like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. For the most part, the main cast. If the main cast, yeah, you say by main cast, I mean Javi, Gabe, Kate, David, and Clem. That's it. That's the main cast. That is literally all they developed. Gabe, Kate, David, and Clem. That's all. What about Trip, Conrad, and freaking Eleanor? They didn't develop them at all, in my opinion. Okay, something like that. Okay, anyways, other characters are flat as float soda. Okay, I didn't read that. Sorry about that. That's true. That's definitely true. With Trip being the exception, every other character suffered from the season 2 syndrome of no development. Barely got any screen time. I wanted to see more of characters like Eleanor, Max, Joan, and Clint, but till those two focus on the main cast. I felt that, Trip, he expressed himself a lot, but we didn't really learn much about Trip at all. He was just always just angry at us all the time. And if that counts as development, I don't know. I just didn't really like how he didn't really explain himself. He did kind of, like, he hated New Frontier because of what they did to Prescott, but for the most part, he wasn't really, he was almost like Kenny in a way, a little bit. Then you say, okay, because of this, the game is emotional for others. Bro, like, I promise you, like, I barely had any type of emotional connection to any of the characters. Yeah, I was sad that, Gabe died, because, I promise you, I hated Gabe, but, him dying was actually pretty sad. That was it. Mariana, that was definitely sad as well. She definitely made me sad by her dying. And that was pretty much it. I didn't care. I didn't really just grieve over Kate too much, because I was like, I don't really care about Kate, but I do. It's kind of weird, actually. I had zero connection to any character other than Mariana and Kate a little bit. That's it. And Clem, of course, Clem, but she has plot armor, so I don't care. Anyways, thing I hear about for A New Frontier: Clint not being playable in present time. No Clementine flashback in episode 5. Max and Lonnie magically disappear from episode 4 and 5. David being a dickhead, even if you cited him the whole game. I know, right, man? He was just one thing about this game is that they forced so much on us. David was constantly a dick. Kate was constantly in love with us. I mean, come on now, man. It was forced. And then Gabe was constantly a whiny baby. And then, of course, you say Johnny Clint's whole disappearance. That actually leaves like room for a sequel or something like that, from what the person said. I think. Let me see if I have that. I probably don't, to be honest. I probably don't. Anyways, let me go ahead and just go. Things that went well this season: Conrad shooting Gabe. Yo, I mean, Conrad, yeah, he was definitely, in terms of like the choices, he was definitely well added into a choice that actually he can die 3 different times. So that definitely was a good job on that. Shooting Gabe, man. That's funny. They went wrong this season. The story, what I see is that everyone doesn't really like the story. For me, at least, the story was just very, very generic. I mean, that's all I can really say. it was like too much about action and not much about survival. Yeah, the action was meant to kind of just like throw in that we have to survive in this sort of way, but for the most part, it just wasn't, that. He said, on the whole, let me go and read some more. Blah blah blah. I would say that the whole season 3 was better than season 2. So, just comment down below if you guys think that season 3 was better than season 2. I don't know, man. Like, the character development was somehow worse than season 2. And for that point in general, I just might say that season 2 was better. I know season 2 had its problems, but this just didn't really. I mean, it had a direction. Season 2 had no direction at all. And this one had some sort of direction, but it was just not that interesting of a direction. But, anyways, you can all see, oh my god, dude, do you fucking space out shit? Look at this shit right here, okay? Fucking, never mind, not spaced out. Fucking paragraphs, okay? Okay, anyways, in all seriousness, it wasn't season, but it wasn't, it wasn't about Clementine. I mean, you wouldn't. The Garcia family was interesting, but something I would say, episode 3, blah, blah. Okay, so for the most part, you were not really happy with episode 1 and 2, and, the choices not really mattering, or from season 2, do you say choices felt really great this season? Like, more than season 1, season 2. Now, granted, I'll talk about that later, but anyways, game sucks. Okay, anyways, I don't know why I always wanted Kate to die. Haha, okay, that's pretty good. Satisfactory, mediocre at best. Okay. Season was a failure, really didn't care much this season. A New Frontier lacks depth. Yes. Okay, A New Frontier. One of the biggest problems is that it lacks depth, okay? It really does lack depth in all of that. And from character depth to story depth. The story wasn't really deep at all. I promise you. It wasn't really deep at all. It was definitely a good story. Like, a good story. But it wasn't anything just mind-breaking, groundbreaking, I mean. So, stuff like that. Let me see. I'm not gonna write a paragraph. Oh, I wish everybody would do that. Okay, anyways. Runtime, characters lacking stories. Few. Very good season. You're like the only one who said that. Like, I'm being honest. Like, no one said it was good so far. Okay, overall pretty good. Where Michonne, she should have shown up in episode 5 and mentor Clem. That would be really cool. Like, they should actually, connect that shit. That'd be dope. It wasn't bad. A lot of loose ends. Dee tied up with they continue to ignore, and that sort of pissing me off. Yeah, they kind of just leave that open to like either never be explained or to bring it back in a amazingly bigger season 4. Anyways, it's sad to see everyone's divided over the game. I guess it's not a masterpiece. That was season 1, but it's going to blah blah blah. Okay, that's true. The theme was about family, but hey, I'm gonna show you something about theme real quick. Looky here. Wait. Looky here. Family. This is how much everyone cares about family. And stop now. Okay, plot. A lot of the time the plot didn't really feel fresh. It kind of came as a bit predictable. Clem's story felt a bit irrelevant in this season, which kind of saddened me, and it saddened a lot of people. I think Telltale has realized this is why they say Clementine's, or at the end, Clementine's story will continue. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, they kind of just threw in Clem, and then just gave her, like, more backstory scenes, and then realized that, hey, this stuff is kind of very great. Let's go ahead and make it into a full season with Clementine again. There's no word on if it's going to be a full season or whatever it's going to be, but I'll make a different video about that. You'll know it. Okay, anyways, relationship. I think it's been the most interesting relationship in this season. One between Javier and David. Having a brother and myself is very immersive experience watching these two fight and hug it over throughout each season, just like brothers do. The relationship between Kate and Javier, or Kate and Javier also feel genuine. How other relationships felt a bit forced, like Javi and Clementine's relationship. What? I mean, I didn't feel like their relationship was forced. I felt like Kate and Javier's was actually more forced than Clementine and Javier. Like, I mean, I played through again, like having no interest in Kate at all, and then she kind of just like threw herself at me at every chance she took, and even each time I declined it, it just she was like, okay, I'll try again next time, and that was pretty much it. Then okay, linked. Ooh boy, yeah. For the most part, this season was over with like really fast. It started in December and ended in May, which is of course a good 6 months. Whenever I left for 4 months, I didn't expect every single episode to be out. I expected like episodes 3 or 4 to be out, and right at the tail end of when I was coming home, episode 5 was coming out, and I was like, man, that's fast. So having more developers, I mean, Telltale can actually go ahead and make it a lot faster now. I'm not really sure how I feel about monthly releases. They can be good, but I want them to go ahead and just fertilize it really great and then put it out, no matter how long it takes. And then for the most part, man, a lot more comments and stuff. I'm at the end now. Okay, let's be honest. If I play the game, because Clem was in it. Without her, this game is nothing. Yeah. Okay, so this video is going on to about 30 minutes. So let's go ahead and jump into the last few bits that I want to talk about as of right now. So I went ahead and just threw in my opinions on various things. So I think I pretty much just covered most of my list, other than let's go about how the year is pretty good. Protagonist Clementine, her flashbacks were interesting for the most part, and then episode length. Okay, it was actually the shortest Walking Dead Telltale game ever, excluding Michonne, because that was actually 3 episodes. But this season was around 7 hours, and I promise you, season 2 was at least around probably 2 hours. Not fucking 2 hours. Around like 10 hours. Or season 1 actually being around 14 hours. So this one's actually the shortest Telltale season from The Walking Dead. And that's actually pretty disappointing, depending on because they said this is the biggest season ever. Like, do you mean big in terms of what now? Because, episodes going below 90 minutes, like barely even making 90 minutes. Like, for the most part, episode 1, 1 hour and 22 minutes. Episode 2, 1 hour and 13 minutes. Episode 3, 1 hour and 34 minutes. Episode 4, 1 hour and 33 minutes. Episode 5, 1 hour and 23 minutes. If you go ahead and cut out 5 minutes maybe, because I talk at the beginning and end of my videos, then that could be like all of them below 90 minutes, which is very, very bad. Like 90 minutes is definitely, I would say, the minimum they should definitely hit. And then choices, I already talked about those. Conrad was probably great. Choices weren't hard, but there were definitely choices that actually mattered and actually changed stuff pretty well, in my opinion. Had some pretty great scenes that were different from each choice. And then the 4 endings where you have, how, David can die in one of them, Kate can, David can die in 2 of them, actually. And then, what's it called? Kate can die, or David and Gabe can die, and stuff like that. Definitely was pretty interesting seeing how the endings actually played out. Those were actually really good as well. And then various small things, like of course Lingard living, he could actually come back at the end. And then Conrad living, he showed up at the end as well. And then for example, whenever if you shot Kenny in episode or in season 5, or season 5, if you shot Kenny in season 2, she actually shoots David, which happened to me at least. That was actually pretty cool. But for the most part, most of the comments aren't really positive, and that's pretty sad. So here's my overall fan comments / my thoughts and review of The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really, really hope that one day, Telltale realize that, hey, we gotta go ahead and put in for quality instead of quantity. And what I mean by that is, stop worrying about putting out so many games at once. Of course they had The Walking Dead. They've been working on, Guardians of the Galaxy as well, and Minecraft Story Mode Season 2, and I would think they're working on their original IP and working on at least prototypes for Game of Thrones Season 2. So they have a lot on their plate, and they said themselves they have enough people to work on 4 games at once. Why do that when you have more people to work on a product to make it the best that it can be, instead of working about making all these different products that could just be mediocre, when working on 1 or 2 at once could actually just be great. Yeah, but anyway, thank you guys for watching this long talk and, fan reception and my opinions on The Walking Dead: A New Frontier. And look out for my Season 4 video or DLC video regarding the ending Clementine scene of A New Frontier. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and leave me a thumbs up, a like, and go ahead and share this video among your Walking Dead community pals. I'll be forever grateful, and that will be it from me, InfernoKun. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. I'm out.